If you have an iPhone 12 or newer and at some point you ran into the issue that the videos that you shot with your phone, they look extremely overexposed and basically unusable, well, then in this video I'll show you how you can fix that. Hey, what's up guys, Julian from smartphonefilmmakingpro.com here. Hope you're all doing fantastic, hope you're all doing great. And today we will be talking about the iPhone 12 or the iPhone 13. And to be more specific, we will talk about the HDR mode and also the cinematic mode. Because I've seen from many of you guys and also from many of our students inside of Smartphone Filmmaking Pro that they are struggling with the new features that Apple is giving us. And the reason for that is pretty simple. HDR has a different color profile than standard dynamic range that we're used to, like when we're shooting like with basically any other smartphone. So the problem is we have an iPhone 12 or 13 and it's delivering amazing quality. When you're watching back on your phone, it looks absolutely stunning. But by the time you share it on social media, on YouTube, or I don't know, on your screen, or you just send it over to some friends, it is looking absolutely horrible. And the reason for that is that Instagram, for example, is using an SDR image and your image is an HDR image, so standard dynamic range and high dynamic range. And when you display a video that is shot in HDR on an SDR screen, well, then I'll just show you very quickly what this looks like. So we are here inside of Premiere Pro, and what you can see here is just a little tutorial video that I made for our students. And the video that you can see here on the left, this is shot in HDR. This is shot with the cinematic mode on the iPhone 13 Pro. So as you can see here in the viewer, it's looking pretty nice. And I'll now just drag it over to our timeline, and now we can actually see how it looks like. So the video that you can see right here, this is an HDR image. And the video that you can see right here, or the timeline that you can see here, this is an SDR timeline, because actually the video that I was, this video here, this is shot on my Canon 1DX, so this has no HDR image, so the entire timeline has a normal SDR timeline. So I'll just scale that to 100%. And this is what it looks like. So as you can see here in the sky, well, actually on the left side in the HDR display, we have a ton of information down here in the highlights. And here it's actually just completely blown out also here on the street. And this is exactly the same thing. This is the same thing that happens also on your Instagram, for example. And when you're using Premiere Pro, I'll just show you very quickly how it works on Premiere Pro. And then in a minute, I will also show you how you can fix this right directly on your iPhone. So inside of Premiere, it's pretty simple. You just go here to exposure and just drag the overall exposure down. So you can see we have all the information left. And then, maybe this was even a little too much. And then I like to bring up the shadows a little bit. Also add some contrast, bring the saturation back. And if we compare it before and after, I think that is looking pretty good. I won't go into more detail on how you can color correct and color grade your images. There actually is a free tutorial here on YouTube where I show you how it works. And we also have inside of our full Smartphone Filmmaking Pro course, we have an entire section where I go much deeper into that topic. And there you can also download 10 LUTs that are basically like drag and drop color grading filters that we have created for you smartphone filmmakers. But that's it, that's how it works inside of Premiere. And now I'll show you how you can fix it directly on your iPhone. Alright, so I have started a screen recording on my iPhone and I'll just hop into LumaFusion. By the way, LumaFusion is my go-to app when it comes to editing videos directly on my iPhone. Within Smartphone Filmmaking Pro, we have a full mini course on LumaFusion with I think like 20 videos where I cover absolutely everything that you need to know. So we will actually create a new project and we'll just tap on the little plus icon and we will call it HDR test. And below the written text, you have actually a few settings that you can change. You have frame rate, aspect ratio, and color space. And basically by default, it's set to like based on the first clip added. And generally speaking, that is a pretty cool thing because, whatever file you're putting in, it will put all the settings to that file so that it will, play back smoothly and that it will look good and so on. But the problem is if you add an HDR file or if the first file that you add is an HDR file, then your entire sequence will be an HDR sequence. And if you render this HDR sequence out and then you upload this to Instagram, well, then your videos will still look horrible and you will still have this burnt out effect. So what we will actually change is the color space, and we will leave it on standard Rec 709. So actually the first option that you have. Just tap on it and then create the project. Next up, I will import, I don't know, this clip. Maybe this was for sure shot in HDR. So it's looking pretty good. Maybe this is not the best example because it's not as drastically noticeable as you had with the other clip that I showed you. But basically, the way how you can fix this is pretty much the same. So you just double tap on your clip, and then you go to color and effects. So usually it will look like this when you open it up. Like I said, you go to the color and effects, and then you go to original, tap on that once, and then you can actually draw down the brightness. You can bring up the contrast, saturation down or up, vibrance, however you like. I will not go into like how you can color grade this image, but this is actually, if you have a video that is super burnt out, this is where you can fix that. But that's basically it for this video. Let me know if this tip helped you. Let me know if you had this problem before. I even ran into this issue myself, especially when I got my iPhone 12 back then. I was just not used to working with HDR files because my normal camera was just not able to shoot any HDR. So my phone was basically my first contact with HDR images. If you would like to learn more about smartphone filmmaking, if you want to learn how you can really get the absolute best quality out of your smartphone, then you can check out our totally free webinar. It's the first link below that like button. It's 30 minutes long, and inside of the webinar I share top 5 secrets to shooting cinematic videos with your smartphone. But that's basically it. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one.